Buenos días a todos. A
Good
continuación,
morning, everyone. We will now start with our webinar.
para los que necesiten
And
traducción
for the ones who need simultaneous interpretation, please, at the bottom of your screen, you will find a world icon,
ahí pueden seleccionar
interpretation or languages. You can choose Spanish, and then you will be listening to the Spanish interpretation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Paula Ramirez, Product Development Manager in Henkel, Chile, and today I will be moderating our webinar. On behalf of Henkel and Chile Global Ventures of Fundación Chile, I would like to give you a warm welcome to the first webinar of Still the Cycle course. We know that sustainability is a key concept today, and the actions taken to promote it are becoming increasingly important, which is why today we have an outstanding panel of experts who will talk about this call and its importance to our future. Meantime, we listen. We can write our questions in the chat. To begin with, we welcome Michael Frank, Corporate Director of Product Development and Innovation for Consumer and Professional Adhesives at Henkel, with more than 20 years of experience driving sustainable innovation in adhesives by synchronizing the strategy with business needs and customer requirements. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Paula, and a warm welcome to all of you on this call from my side. Greetings from Düsseldorf in Germany, and thanks for your kind introduction. Yeah, as Paula said, I'm now more than 20 years in adhesives, and I can tell you over the last 2 years, I can firmly say that what this project is all about is just an example of what is driving our industry and what is actually accelerating even the change in our industry. Yeah, it's tremendous. We will come in a couple of minutes a little bit to the essence of the project for sure, but I can tell you I'm super excited about this project and this team. And maybe to share with you a little bit what I think about the project, and I hope you can see my screen now.
Not yet.
Second, now you should see.
Now you're sharing.
Okay. All right, here we go. It's not only exciting, but it's even more than that. I have to say, I absolutely admire this team. And when I see the team, it's not only the Henkel team, it's the entire team that brought us to that level. And it's also, of course, the project itself. And the admiration comes from the fact that what the team has achieved so far, and hopefully what the project will achieve going forward, is because what you are doing is really within the DNA of our company. You are pioneers, and you are pioneers because you do something good for generations. So there's a clear purpose in the project, and there's a clear purpose in what you are doing. And this makes this project so unique and so fundamental for us going forward. And you will see it also in a couple of minutes that what this project is about is not totally new to Henkel. In fact, Henkel is a family-owned business since more than 145 years. So the DNA of a family-owned business is also to do something good for generations. Yeah, it's not just about shareholder value, etc., etc. It's also something about a sustainable business and a sustainable impact on society. And therefore, the Seal the Cycle project, from my point of view, is a prime example because it goes into the legacy of 3 areas. It's responsibility, it's innovation, and it's sustainability. The responsibility part is expressed in many facets in what we are doing. And you can see it on the left-hand side by looking at the photographs where we as a company, but not only as a company in giving money to something, but also as Henkel employees want to make an impact. We support initiatives that are targeted at better education. We support initiatives where people have great ideas about social projects. We support initiatives and projects where it's about health, for instance, finding or drilling for new water resources. We help also in cases, also with donations of our products, where natural disasters were hitting countries, regions, or cities. And this is all important for us to understand when it comes, again, to the pioneering fact to support generations. On the one hand side, I think we are super blessed here in the environment we work, in the customers we deal with. And I think it's from our very deep heart that we want to give something back to the people who are not yet in that position. And to that extent, and also in that concept, the whole Seal the Cycle project is about. The second important element is related to innovation. And for us, in order to succeed with products, with innovative products, it's super critical from the very beginning that we understand what the customer, what the consumer actually needs. That's why we need to be super consumer centric. It wouldn't be enough for us to be in a lab, like almost in an ivory tower, developing new products without knowing why a customer is doing certain things. What is the job a consumer needs to do at home, like here in a bathroom, in a garage, whatever it is? This is fundamental for us to understand. And this has also later on, as we will see, an impact on what we want to do with the Seal the Cycle project. And very clearly, what we are producing is not only a product that is a bulk material, a chemical composition. Our products only work to a certain performance level if they are in the right packaging. So for us and our consumers to have the right experience and to help them doing their job, the packaging is key. And this is also the basis, so to say, if you wish, of the problem that we want to address with the Seal the Cycle project. It's about the packaging. On the one hand side, it's absolutely mission critical for the product to be successful, but at the end of the life of the product, after its use, it's causing currently a certain issue. We also stand for reliable product quality. And I think this is also important for us in our organization to understand that we don't want to have that experience only once, but every time a customer is buying or choosing a product from us. And this is also supported, of course, by the brands, the global brands or the regional brands that we have. Now, in the end, this pays a dividend, if you wish, on what we feel is critical in sustainability. And let me walk you through this a little bit busy slide from the left to the right. What you see on the left side is, in simple terms, the basic equation we are trying to follow when it comes to sustainability. So on the one hand side, if you look at the red part with the red arrow, what we are striving for with our sustainability initiatives all around the world is we would deliver more value. This could go into social progress, the performance of our products, or by making sure that our products are safe in the handling, and they are not causing any health issues. And at the same time, we want to reduce the footprint that is associated with the products that we are launching. Because we know that the footprint has an impact on climate. The footprint and the materials we bring into the markets may have an impact on materials and waste streams, and of course also on the water consumption. And I would like to particularly focus now on the materials in waste. As you can see now on the right-hand side, we have very clear targets when it comes to material in waste, especially when it comes to the packaging stuff. And you see also we have a target that we want to have a 100% recyclable and reusable packaging at a certain point in time. But there is also a small asterisk that says, it excludes products where the ingredients or residues may affect the recycling in a negative way. And this is exactly the challenge, the essence of this project. We are dealing here with packaging material, which we would like to get back into a recycling stream. But from a today's perspective, this is very challenging, technically challenging. And that's why in our current aims, in our current sustainability objectives, we almost exclude them from the view and from the equation. And this is something we want to change. So you see that sustainability for us is not just a buzzword. For us, sustainability starts with a vision, and the vision is that we as a company and with the products and the brands we have, we want to be the recognized leader in the industry. That when people go into a DIY shop, when people are taking our products in the hands, that they say, oh, this is Henkel, and they realize they are walking the talk in sustainability. This vision has a clear mission, an overarching objective, if you wish, that we want to become climate positive in less than 20 years from now. And to go one step further, in order to come to that overarching objective, we need to have projects, concrete projects in place that help us getting there. And they are numerous. However, the Seal the Cycle project for the moment is unique in its sense because it's the first project that we would like to kick off that is around the recycling of packaging, especially of packaging that is already, I call it, contaminated by a sealant or an adhesive. And this is, as we all know, not so easy. Now, again, going into a little bit the specifics of the idea and our objective. What you see here on this depiction, maybe starting with the red dot of Henkel, is, as I was explaining before, we as a company, we produce thousands of products that are all in whatever form packaged. They go into a retail. From retail, they go to consumers. And now the big question is, what happens? Likely, with the products that we produce, the packaging cannot be reduced by the consumer herself or himself. Yeah, so no one would use or bring back the cartridge to us and say, please refill it. Maybe it's a crazy idea, but at the moment, at least, I don't see this. Hopefully also, none of our consumers is littering the package, throwing it just away. Ideally, and I think based on what I learned also from previous discussions with my colleagues in LATAM, there are already well-established waste collections around these cartridges. And we would like to benefit from that fact that the waste is already collected. So that's why the first step is, how do we get into the waste collection? And from there, what is happening? Now, in many cases, also being here in Germany, the waste is burnt, right? So we generate energy, electricity out of that. Not so much it goes into landfill anymore. But the major step, almost the holy grail for an entire industry, the chemical industry, to become climate neutral at least, is that we make the next step, from the waste collection into the recycling step. And this can then be either a chemical recycling or a mechanical cycling. Both are in its infancy. And for both, we have seen already examples when we talk to our partners, but by no means we are at a level, especially with packaging that is contaminated, that it would be an easy deal. But then, ideal case, once this recycling, either the chemical part or the mechanical part did happen, this can go back into the stream, into the plastics, into the plastic manufacturers and their converter, and as a recycled material back to us. This is the objective, the holy grail. And in the end, what we would like to achieve is this red circle that is a 100% Gradle to Gradle. Yeah, that we are not introducing to Henkel virgin plastic, but rather that every plastic that comes back to Henkel has a history either as a plastic box for something or a polyethylene cartridge for a sealant. That's the objective. So for me personally, it's all about reducing the massive amount of virgin plastic that we are using. And in that project, to me, it doesn't matter so much, I have to say, how big is the quantitative impact. Yeah, for me, what matters more is the qualitative impact. It's the mindset. And I think this is something we need to get into the people's mind. Number one, that recycling is possible. And that people, as I was explaining in the depiction before, don't think, okay, this is a cartridge I cannot recycle. I throw it into a different bin that is maybe then ultimately going into an energy, let's say, an energy collection or into a generation of energy of the cartridge, but rather that they understand from the very beginning, after its use, I can use the cartridge and bring it back into a system where I can rely on that the material is recycled. That's the first one. So it's about the confidence and the trust in the system and the processes. And the second one is that everyone feels that she or he can make an impact. And I know it's a single cartridge, but we have to start with something. And with every cartridge that is returned, we ultimately go step by step further into a circular economy. And this is again what I admire about the concept and the idea of the project. Yeah, you had the courage, you had the creativity, and you had the passion to get started. And this is exactly the mindset that we also need to ultimately bring into the mindset of our consumers to get started. So here is my expectation. Again, it's the mindset change. I will not count the numbers of cartridges that we are going to recycle. This is maybe for a second step. But for me, it's important that we learn, and maybe on the path going forward, that there are more steps we anticipate to be made. And maybe there are some failures, but failures are no failures if we take them as lessons learned. And I think this is very, very important. Let me also put this a little bit into the context of what we all have witnessed over the last almost 30 years. And what I'm not going to do is here a bashing of politicians or any comments on politics. But what I want to show you is in 30 years, we have seen conferences after conferences. And certainly all these conferences were organized and held with the very best ideas. And we know climate change is real. It's a given fact, and we need to act on that. The question for me, though, is, despite all these commitments, what can we do on an individual level to make an impact? Again, going back to what I said before about the mindset change of the individuals. And let me take an example, a historical one, an anecdotal one, to show you and demonstrate to you how to get started. You see here two pictures, two photographs of a man called Karl and a lady called Bertha. And actually, they got married in the 19th century. The last name of Karl is Benz. And what he invented is this. This is the first car in the world. The first car in the world was a Mercedes-Benz. Now, everyone might say, well, Mercedes, it's a luxury brand, la, la, la. But at the very beginning, this car, which maybe did not look really as a car as we know them for today, but this car was not a success. And Karl Benz was extremely doubtful about the success of this car. He was an engineer, and he was building this car in a garage. And on his home territory, he was driving around with the car. He invited some friends, see this. They said, yeah, it's nice, it looks good, but is it reliable? Is it going to work? And no one was really supporting him but his wife. And what his wife, Bertha, did were two major things. First of all, when they got married, she gave the marriage portion, so the marriage gift that she got from her parents to her husband, and she said, here is my money for you to get this car started, to build this car. So actually she was the first founder of her husband in order to build that. But still it was not a success. And then Bertha made something very interesting. Without letting her husband know, she took the car with the two sons she had and was driving the car, the first car, 105 kilometers from a smaller town in Germany to another smaller town. And imagine at that time, it was 1896, there were no gas stations. And as you can see here from the depiction, they were buying the gasoline in a pharmacy. But this was the event where people got know about the car, where people got know about the reliability and so on and so forth. And this was the starting point for this initiative, so to say, for this project, for this car to be successful. So the essence is we need to dare to make the first move. No one will do it for us. And this is coming back to what I said before, why I admire this project so much, because it's fully linked to our strategy. It's fully linked to our DNA. It's fully linked to our heart. And you made the first move. And this is essential. So I therefore thank all of you again for preparing that. I think also in advance already everyone who participates not only in the webinar today, but going forward also in submitting ideas, because you all dare to make the first move. Thank you very much and good luck to the project.
Thank you very much, Michael. Les recuerdo a todos los que se han unido a nuestra webinar.
I would like to remind everyone in the webinar, you can obtain simultaneous interpretation clicking on the interpretation link below.
To learn more about the background, history, and importance of this call, we have Roberto Pavet, Henkel's Product Development Head and Consumer and Customer Analytics in LATAM. With a strong background in chemistry, he had demonstrated history of working in research and development in the consumer goods industry. Welcome, Roberto.
Thank you very much, Paula. I will share my screen now. Okay, can you see? Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We can start. I will try to do very simple, I would say, our target for the Silde cycle. First of all, I would like to share you some views on the very beautiful nature that we have nowadays in Chile. You know, in the north of Chile, Torre del Paine here. Some volcano because we have a lot of volcano, and the flowers, you know, close to the desert and the sea. It's wonderful. And I'm showing you because we need to preserve that, because also we need to remain with this wonderful view, not just because the view, because the diversity of life. Yeah. Silde cycle is considered a very important concept here, like you already mentioned, Michael. But it's important to say the following: the nature does not need us. It's very clear for us, the nature does not need us. We need the nature because we are part of it. I think it's absolutely relevant, this concept, that is not mine. Just to mention that this sentence was given by our CEO and Henkel president in year Dr. Hans Dietrich Binghaus in 1994. So it means Henkel was concerned regarding to the nature at that time. So it means something like, less than 30 years ago. The background regarding to this project, Seal the Cycle, just to give you an idea, we are talking regarding to 370 million metric tons of plastic produced in a year in a global level. And this year was, this value is less due to the pandemic situation, so normally it was higher than in a normal year. So it depends on the plastic type. We already are recycling in between 1.5% and to 28%. Of course, depending on quality, we know that the polyethylene terephthalate is a high level of recyclability, so therefore it's possible to see. Polyethylene, high density polypropylene, and polyestyrene are the most difficult material to incorporate into the recycling chain. I think this is a big topic, And the reason is because we have residues inside, cured material, that nowadays is a big limitation for recycling because they contaminate, especially when we are talking regarding to this extruded material, where we are melting and generating the packaging. It's a big barrier in order to recycle. So we need to work on that, and this is the main task and our focus in this project, especially regarding to the cartridge. So we have several 100,000 of polyethylene cartridge in high density per year in a global level. I do not like to say thousands of million cartridges around the world, And the reason of, I already mentioned, the cured material or dry product in the cartridge when after the use is the main problem that we want to solve. Cartridge containing silicone, polyurethane, and other kind of products are the main topics here. So it means Seal the Cycle, the challenge that we have nowadays is very clear. It has very clear target. For example, the technology we are looking or seeking for the technology able to separate the high density polyethylene from the residues that we have inside in order to get a suitable polyethylene for recycled plants. The process. So it means what is very important to have the right process in order to handle industrial volumes, really in a global scale. And another one is, of course, to be very positive from the impact point of view. So if the process must be positive, in order to avoid or to create some hazard in the environment. We're very clear on that. Okay. What really we do expect from this project and from your participation and from our people that were invited to this challenge? We will use, or we need to use, collected and used cartridge, in a process sustainable process where we can use, for example, just as an example, mechanical process, chemical process, or other that can go in the direction of to obtain clean and usable plastic for recycling process. I think it's a very suitable for us in order that we can put this plastic, obtained plastic, inside of the recycling process. Simple is the target. It's something that we want to do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Now, you remember, I need to remember you that you can add your questions in the chat. And now, I'd like to introduce Andres Mimnick. He is Director of Corporate Venturing of Chile Global Ventures, the venture capital arm of Fundación Chile. Being an engineer by training, Andres has spent the last 4 years helping corporates innovate by linking them to a startup world. Welcome, Andres.
Thank you, Paula. Thanks a lot. So welcome everyone. After these two inspirational presentations, I'm going to go more into the details of how we will get this done. So please, if you have any questions, make sure that you put them in the chat so we can discuss them afterwards. So the invitation today is to be part of Seal the Cycle. This is a disruptive circular economy challenge, as we have seen, that aims to do something that doesn't exist right now, which is to be able to recycle the cartridges that hold the silicon in silicon tubes. And by that, creating not only a great impact, but also avoiding creating additional waste. I'm going to start by telling us who we are, so you understand why we are Chile Global Ventures. We are part of Fundación Chile. Fundación Chile is an NGO that's focused on technology development and innovation. And over the 40 years that we have been around, we have developed a complete in-house innovation ecosystem. We have angel networks, mentor networks, accelerator, corporate venturing. We also have a corporate venture capital in-house, as well as other areas that do sustainability, human development, and others. But always looking forward in innovation and trying to push the barriers of what is possible. And that's why we team up with Henkel to push the barrier of what is possible in recycling silicon cartridges. We do this because we fully believe that open innovation is a way in which corporates get more competitive, while at the same time creates great opportunity for smaller companies and startups. We have worked with both, and that's why we are able to bridge the gap that usually exists there. And also we play the role of a neutral entity between them. And that we have seen that always facilitate the process. And that's what we expect here in Seal the Cycle as well. As we are in in-house ecosystem, we have a full suite of services of corporate venturing. They go from corporate scouting to hackathons to innovation challenges, which is what we are doing today. We also have a corporate accelerator and a club of mining companies that innovate together. We do strategic alliances. And as I said before, we also have a corporate venture capital in-house. There are not many entities that are able to provide this broad set of services around corporate venturing, basically because they're usually focused in one of all these areas, and we have all them in-house. And because we are so active in the network, we assess more than 1,000 startups per year. And actually, everyone that will participate and submit an application for Seal the Cycle, of course, will be part of this Seal the Cycle process, but also we will be watched by our scouting team in case there are additional opportunities, and even if it's interesting for our corporate venture capital fund to schedule a meeting afterwards. So please make sure that you are not only thinking Seal the Cycle, but also this can open up additional opportunities. But coming to the point of Seal the Cycle, I'm gonna go forward and explain the process and how we will manage it. Basically, this is a challenge that seeks to enable HDPE recycling out of silicon cartridges. These cartridges today are going to the waste, and what Henkel is looking for is to be able to identify a technology that is able to separate the residue, the silicon residue, from the HDPE of the cartridge, and run a pilot here in Chile, with the aim of scaling that pilot to Europe and then the world. These cartridges are used worldwide. So basically, this is an opportunity if you have a technology to validate the technology and to scale it, probably at a scale that would be very difficult to do without a partner like Henkel. As Roberto mentioned before, this is a high impact project. Hundreds of thousands of cartridges go to the waste every year. And it's not only good enough to be able to collect them and not litter with them, but we want to be part of the solution. So as Michael explained, we want to seal this cycle, and we want the Henkel to receive only plastics that have a history. And as you can see, by addressing Seal the Cycle, you have a very unique opportunity of having a global impact. This is something that is used around the world. So basically, you will have a global impact with Seal the Cycle. Who are we looking for? Well, Seal the Cycle it's very open. We're open to SMEs, to startups, to research centers, to perhaps medium-sized companies, anyone that has a novel technology in recycling and things that can address this challenge. We are looking for applications that make a disruptive change in this regard. This is something that doesn't exist, and we want you guys to participate and to show us what can be done in this regard. It's very important to consider, though, that you need to have the ability to run a pilot in Chile, because the pilot project will be run in Chile, and you must be a legal entity. You cannot be a single person. You need to be a legal entity to participate in Seal the Cycle. Then what are we looking for? Again, Seal the Cycle is very open. We know we're looking for something that's very new, so we don't want to leave any good ideas behind. In that regard, we are accepting technologies that are TRL 4 onward. So if you have a laboratory test of your technology, you are on board. You don't need to have a solution that's already in the market. If you have one, that's great as well. We will be more than happy to look at it. But anything that is beyond a laboratory test is available. I mean, it's eligible to participate in Seal the Cycle. You can use wet, mechanical, or chemical separation processes. We don't want to bias you. We want you to show us what can be done. Then what do you need to succeed? Well, this is not only about the technology. Your technology needs to work in an environment that combines other people, other ecosystems, as well as a business ecosystem. So you need to have an attractive business model. You need to avoid to create negative social and environmental impacts. And you need to be able, as I said before, to pilot your solution in Chile. Once that gets validated, we expect it to be able to scale it to Europe and then to the world. What do we expect from the technologies and from the projects that we see? As Michael mentioned, we need the plastic to be at par with the current plastic that is being used by recycling plants. So it's very important that you can connect with the infrastructure and the processes that are already there. This is going to be something new, but it's going to be sort of the missing link of a chain that already has several other chains. So you need to be able to provide an input to them that they can manage with the regular process. Also, since we are seeking a global impact, you need to be able to handle large volumes of HDPE, technologies that are very cumbersome or can only process small amounts of HDPE. It's unlikely that they will be very successful in this process. Of course, avoid creating an environmental hazard. And we will also be looking at other variables. And whoever makes it to the last stage, you will see that you will have the chance to present this. But we are going to be looking at the process cost as a percentage of the virgin material in order to understand the business case, the water and energy consumption, because that again can create another environmental hazard, the final disposal of waste if there's any, the percentage of clean HDPE that you're able to produce out of the cartridge. Perhaps you cannot recycle everything, that's fine. We're open to see those kind of solutions, but we do expect a high percentage of the cartridge to be able to enter the recycling value chain. Of course, the key metrics, the process output, the tons per hour that you're able to generate, and also the social impact. Does your project create local jobs? Does your project create jobs for perhaps low-income communities? Those kind of things, have them in mind when you prepare your application, because we are going to be looking at them as well. The timeline is the following. We launched Seal the Cycle last week on November 3rd, and we're going to have the applications open until Sunday, December 12th. So you have almost 6 weeks now to be able to submit your application. Then during December, we're going to go through the reviews of the forms. We're going to have a couple of evaluation moments. And then by December 21st, we expect to announce who is going forward to the next phase of Seal the Cycle. We are going to, with the semi-finalists, we will arrange private meetings so we can learn more about your technology. That's going to be together with Henkel and with Chile Global Ventures. And then on January 14th, we expect to make the announcement of the finalists that come to the final demo day, and you will be able to present your solution to a panel of senior executives of Henkel who will make the decision on who wins this. And this will happen on early February 2022, when we will host this demo day and announce the winner. We also will have another webinar, two other webinars on Wednesday, November 24th, and Tuesday, December 7th. You're invited again to a webinar where you will be able to ask all the questions that you want. We're going to be here. We do understand that perhaps today it's too early for you to have delved further into the cycle. So we're going to provide you with additional opportunities to have a conversation with us and clarify any questions you might have. This is just some schematics on how the process will run. We expect to have, usually for this kind of processes, we get over 100 applications. We then make a first filter of usually 24. We go in depth in them. We end up selecting usually 12, which we arrange meetings. We will be learning together about those themes, about the solutions, talking to you directly, guys. And then we will select about 4 to 6 finalists to present on the demo day to get finally the winner of Seal the Cycle and the team, company, startup that will actually be selected to run the pilot in Chile. The evaluation, it's going to be on 6 broad categories. Basically, the first one is the ability to address the challenge. There you need to be thorough. Make sure that you explain clearly and very assertively how are you going to address the challenge. What is your idea? There you can put sort of your business model. You need to have a final business model, but give us the opportunity to know that you have think about these things. How you envision. It's not only technology, it's technology and business model as well. We're going to evaluate your innovation, how innovative your technology is. This is something that doesn't exist. So it's all right if it's an integration of existing technologies, but you need to demonstrate that you're doing something new. Then business model and traction. Perhaps you already have some traction. That's great. If you don't have, that's not a problem. Just let us know. But if you're already testing your technology or you're already running a pilot in some place, make sure to mention that. That's always an asset. We're going to look at the maturity level of your technology. And as I said before, we're accepting TRL 4 onwards. But if you have an early stage technology, make sure to show us how you plan to scale it and demonstrate that you can scale it quickly so you can actually run this pilot. Then we're asking you about a pilot proposal. So how do you envision to run this pilot? How you will position yourself in Chile, and how would you plan this at a conceptual stage? Of course, whoever wins in the cycle, we will go in deeper conversations to establish the pilot, but give us a concept level description on how you plan to run this pilot, and then describe us your team, your experience and your capabilities. And if you are lacking any capability to run the pilot, let us know, but tell us what will you do to obtain that. It's very important, the team, please don't forget to put effort there. These projects, these early stage projects, sometimes we think that they're about technology, but a lot of it has to do with the execution capabilities of the team. The winner, of course, will have an award. It's going to be a cash prize of 25,000 euros. And that's sort of something nice to have. But the bigger here, the bigger award is the ability to be able to run this pilot. And to validate your technology in Chile and to demonstrate that it works, and then to scale it to the European market. This is the big objective, and that's the big award, is the opportunity to get your idea and transform it into something real with a global impact. Henkel has already established a network of partners, and it's ready to deploy the pilot. So you don't need to figure out and identify every single partner. It's not going to be like, we're going to ask you, okay, you won't put together every single step here, and we'll just sit and wait for you to do that. There's a lot of work that has been previously done. So please make sure that we're looking for this missing link that we expect you to show us where it is. Everything that we have discussed and this webinar as well will be uploaded to the Seal the Cycle website. That's www.sealthecycle.com. And with that, I'm going to give it back to Paula so we can answer any questions that you guys might have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andres. As you said, now we can start with the questions. I have one question from Alex Bear. It says, can you please describe clearly the type of residues which will be present in the cartridges, silicon and polyurethane, something additional? What kind of silicon and polyurethane? I think, Roberto, you can help us with this question.
I think so. I can support. Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Very good question. Normally, the people, the producer, are putting different technology inside of the cartridge. I will divide in two of them. One of them is the reactive one, and the second one is, yeah, like water-based products. Yeah. So from the residues, normally from the reactive are silicon, pure silicon, pure PU, polyurethane, but also we have some hybrid material, yeah, something like a silane modified technology that normally the people are putting inside. And we have others, a different one, something like a solvent-based product, rubber-based. It means normally the people are putting the product inside. Water-based also for contraction adhesive, for example, normally you can put inside of the cartridge and also the acrylics one. What is important, the water-based, normally you can clean with water. So therefore, the main focus here is in the reactive one, where the silicones are the most important and how can I say, most difficult to separate or to clean up. Yeah. This is my suggestion on that, my answer.
Thank you, Roberto. I think we do not have more questions at this moment, but maybe for the next webinar, we're going to have a lot of them. So with this, we can end our webinar. We thank our speakers and all of you for following this transmission, and good afternoon.